Now, in the latest development over the NEET UG controversy, the CBI has taken the three AIIMS doctors who were already detained from Patna for questioning now. All three are medical students of the 2021 batch. For now, the CBI has sealed the rooms of these doctors and have seized their laptops and mobile phones. CBI seems to have made a big breakthrough in this particular case, as they've been able to establish a link between these doctors and the solver gang that was involved in the NEET controversy as well. The CBI has already arrested Pankaj, who stole the paper from the truck carrying it, and has exposed his connections with the principal of the Oasis School. Now, the paper reached Sanjeev Mukhia from this school in Hazaribagh, and it is Mukhia who later on passed the paper to Rocky, and Rocky got the paper solved through solvers. This is the entire process that seems to have taken place, this process that was implemented by these solver gangs. The links as to how the papers were stolen and then sent over to the solver gangs to end up solving the papers, and which has in fact highlighted malpractices in the NEET UG 2024 to such great extents. Remember, when we bring this update to you, today is July 18th, when the Supreme Court is to hear the case. Yet again, the hearing continues in the topmost court of our nation with regards to whether the re-NEET is required in this matter or not. Whether the re-NEET shall take place only for students who were involved in the malpractice, or was the malpractice seeped to such levels in the NEET 2024 exams, the NEET UG 2024 exams, that the examination needs to be conducted all over again for all the students. A big question mark that needs to be answered. In fact, the students, even during the last hearing, have now seemed to be thinning out on their patience level with the probe that is continuing, as well as with the judiciary, given that the number of hearings that's taken place in the case. The fate of 24 lakh students still have a big question mark on them, as we continue to keep focusing on what exactly is to unfold in this case. What is the hearing going to highlight today? Whether a verdict is going to be announced with regards to the paper leak that's taken place in this case. All eyes continue to remain on the Supreme Court with regards to the hearing on the NEET UG 2024 controversy. These are the latest updates with regards to the probe. Remember, we had brought to you the information about three AIIMS doctors having been detained. They're all medical students of the 2021 batch who were involved in this case. Now, as we give you some updates about the case, remember the CBI had already submitted a detailed report to the Supreme Court during its previous hearing in the last week itself, with regards to how the probe has continued, where the probe stands currently. In fact, with that, let's cut across to our legal editor, Ashok Bagaria, who's joining us on the broadcast to bring us more details and bring us more context into the story. Ashok, a very good morning to you. Very firstly, at this point, I think we've seen how the student side, the people who filed in the petitions, have indeed started becoming a little impatient even with the judiciary system at this point, given the number of hearings that's taken place into the case. At this point, the probe also highlights that it is these three AIIMS doctors who've now been detained who may be the main accused in this particular paper leak case. They may have links with the solver gang, and they were the ones who sent over the papers to the solver gang.
Yes, you're right that it's taken a little long time in the Supreme Court of India to conclude the hearing in the NEET UG scam matter. But that's how the judicial process in this country works. So now, coming to your question, that there have been arrests which have been made by the CBI in this matter, and they are calling the arrests of these people as of the paper leak scam. Now, what will be very crucial, whether the NEET exams will be cancelled or not, will be the fact that what was the time lag between the paper leak and the actual conduct of the exam on 5th May. if the time gap, the Supreme Court had last time hinted that if there is a time gap, a huge time gap between the alleged paper leak and the conduct of the exam, they will be inclined to take a stand that yes, there was indeed paper leak and distribution of the leaked paper on a mass scale, which actually compromises the integrity of the exam process, and then they would cancel the exam. However, if the CBI in its report is able to say that no, the gap was there, the gap was large, but there was no electronic transfer or any other by any other mode, the transfer of the leaked paper to other candidates, and this is a very localized phenomena that what the court is witnessing, then the court might take a position which is very different. However, what has really happened is NTA, which is the National Testing Agency, the nodal body to conduct the NEET UG exam, has filed a fresh affidavit in the Supreme Court today morning. And in their affidavit, they are opposing the cancellation of the exam. And here, what is interesting is that the NTA is saying that the media reports have inaccurately covered the paper leak incident and drawn conclusions prior to the completion of the investigation. And this misreporting on the part of the media has contributed to public misconception around the NEET UG exam. Besides that, they have also taken a position and they have defended their position that the students have leveled in their petition that there has been a very substantial number of students who have secured higher marks. And in this regard, NTA is again saying that these higher marks have been secured by students because there was a reduction in 25% of the syllabus. Second thing, they are also relying on a data analysis done by IIT Madras at the request of the NTA. And the data analysis by the IIT Madras suggests that there is no unusual trend which is visible at any of the centers the exam was conducted. All the results of the centers are in consonance with the national average, which suggests there was no paper leak or malpractices, which can be a conclusion to which can be drawn from the data analysis. So it will be very interesting to see today which way the Supreme Court is going to take the stand of the NTA, the union government, the CBI. Everything is in place. The petitioners have also made their arguments. So what we are likely to see today is that the Supreme Court will take a conclusive stand on whether the NEET UG exam has to be cancelled or the students will be given admissions on the basis of the marks secured by them on the NEET UG exam.
Right, absolutely. With that, Ashok, in fact, I think there is another part that we need to focus on in this entire controversy itself. The NTA somehow seems to be deflecting from the main point since the beginning, because initially they had completely denied that there is any sort of paper leak that had taken place. Then they had said that yes, even if it has taken place, in fact, this is a point they're still continuing to reiterate upon, that even if it has taken place, the paper leak, it is at a very basic level in the sense that it's in a very, localized way that it's taken place. Again, even with the grace marks, they had said that it was just compensatory marks that we've given to save time with regards to people who had faced complaints with time issues during the exam. So there is a lot of deflection we see from the NTA side, and even a mode of denial that they seem to be since the very beginning of this case coming to light, wherein professors of different institutes, parents of NEET aspirants, they've all come out to say that it is not just a very localized matter, and B, that there have been issues with the NEET UG, the 2024 examination of NEET that's taken place. And that's not just in these two particular states that we are focusing on, but on a much larger level.
Yes, you're right that the NTA has done a flip-flop of kinds on its stand in the Supreme Court of India and in the public space. What really started was that when the results were declared on June 4th and there were allegations of malpractices in the conduct of the NTA and the union government were in complete denial that there was any paper leak. Then subsequently the issue, as you rightly pointed out, of the grace marks was taken up. Again, the NTA tried to defend its position by saying that these grace marks were only given to students who faced a loss of marks. And then they do a U-turn, complete U-turn, where another committee set up by the NTA suggests that this whole idea of giving compensatory marks is flawed, and then a retest is being conducted. Thereafter, what transpires is that from no leak to a partial paper leak. That is what the NTA stand shifts to. NTA now takes a position that there is a partial paper leak, as had been suggested by investigations which were being carried out by Bihar police and Gujarat police, and now even the CBI is accepting that fact, that there was paper leak, and add to it the fact that yesterday the CBI claims to have apprehended the kingpin of the paper leak. So, which suggests, as far as the leak of the question paper is concerned, it is established. Now, what has to be established for the cancellation of the exam is the time gap or the time lag between the paper leak and the actual conduct of the exam. If the time gap is large, more than 12 hours, more than 8 hours, then probably the Supreme Court will be inclined to take a stand that the paper might have leaked by electronic medium or by any other medium to a large number of candidates. However, the NTA takes the position that the results of the students prove to the contrary, that there were no irregularities or malpractices. But you have to keep in mind the data interpretation is a very tricky issue. Tricky issue in the sense, the way you look at the data will give you conclusions, or you can manipulate data in a way to get the conclusions you want. So it will be very unwise on the part of the Supreme Court to rely just on the data analysis which has been done by IIT Madras and rather supplemented by other findings done by the investigating agencies.